Good evening, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. How are you doing? Um, it's been quite a couple days. I thought that before very cold weather returns, I would give you a little garden tour of the home garden, not the cottage garden and everything, just the veggie area. Then we'll be back to the farm tomorrow in very cold, cloudy weather to be doing some manual labor. So let's get started. So it is Thursday. Yesterday, the headache I had from Tuesday had gotten so bad that I actually spent most of the day in bed. And last night, I literally got 2 hours of sleep. So it's been quite a few days. And I had a bunch of appointments today, so I couldn't work out at the farm. But that's okay. I've still got this headache. It's a little bit better, but... So, I did go into the beehives today. I had to put the wet frames from the initial honey extraction back in there for them in a new box. And the reason I'm out here now, later in the day, to do this tour is that they got mad and a couple of them kept chasing me every time I'd come outside. And it's the sun's starting to set, so they're kind of heading back home now. So I'm hoping that I won't get attacked out here while I'm giving you this tour. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, coming into the garden, and I'll tell you, things are a mess. I haven't had a chance to really clean up out here, but it is what it is. So this first bed doesn't have a lot in it right now. It's got some celery, which has been eaten on by probably rodents. We've got some beautiful Merlot lettuce and some romaine and some rogue tulips from last year. That's the Acabano variety. And of course, marigolds and sweet alyssum. Nothing is over here yet. This is going to have tomatoes very soon. So I haven't put anything in this bed yet. Back here is a gorgeous stand. Do you see all of that? That's all peppermint. So it escaped from this box here. When we first built this box years ago, it was an herb bed with strawberries. So herbs in the back, strawberries in the front. And of course there was mint in here and it escaped. And I'm fine with that. I actually cut on this mint when it gets really tall to use in the bouquets. Smells amazing. It's a gorgeous greenery. And then of course I cut a lot of it and dry it to make tea. Okay, so this bed is actually all onions. And you can see these guys keep getting nibbled on by something. So I don't know if they're going to bulb up for me. And these I recently put in. So hopefully we'll see. All right, this bed still just has tulips in it. Those need to come out. They are long done. I don't even know what kind of harvest I'm going to get off of these guys. They're not looking good. They just did not do well in here. This is all kind of like they tried to open but didn't. So I think this crate is done, which is a shame. Same thing over here. Some of these they tried, but they just didn't really make it. So I think that's it for tulips this year. And then here we have my pomegranate, which is young. It has never given me fruit. It has flowered last year, and now I see some flower buds here. So I'm hoping that we'll actually get some fruit on it this year. This is its third year. What looks to be dead back here is not dead. That's a grape. That's a red seedless grape. We've got blackberries here. We've got multiple bushes all the way down the fence line. These are the oldest ones, and I pruned them back in the fall, so they are ready. And then this is an asparagus bed, which is only a year old, so no spears to harvest this year, but it's looking pretty good. This is a fig tree that really, really needs to get transplanted. Oh, this is hysterical. Look at that. It hasn't even leafed out and it's got a fig on it. 2 figs. That's so funny. Okay, so I don't remember what the crop plan for this bed is. Probably peppers and tomatoes as well. So I need to clean that out soon. This is our garlic. Now in another month, we'll be harvesting garlic scapes, which are some of my favorite things, and I'm super excited about that. I do have all these grow bags that are full of compost. These are going to be for sweet potatoes, and I might put sweet potatoes in the ground as well, but last year I had them in the ground and they got eaten by, all the foliage got eaten by rodents when they were starting to size up, and so the sweet potato harvest failed. So I'm going to try, oh no, sorry, I heard a bee, might be on me. We'll find out. I'm just going to move slowly. I just don't want to get stung. This bed is, it was a bunch of narcissus, and there was a, well, there's still one there that's coming back, but this is a Rudbeckia triloba. It gets huge, really nice sprays, and you can see those are the dried up ones. But something tunneled under there. It looks like gopher hole, so I'm going to have to place a gopher trap, and it ate the roots. So that's okay. This one survived, and they do build up a lot of space, plus it dropped a lot of seed. So what we have in here now is the peonies coming up, and I'm really excited for that. And I think there's a bee on my back. I don't know if there was one or not. I can still kind of feel it, but I think I was just imagining things. I just don't want to get stung again. Anyway, the peonies. So this is their second year. They're looking gorgeous. There's a bunch of them in here. Some of them are smaller than others. So all this foliage from the narcissus will die back, and then I'll cut it down, and we'll have the peony plants in here, and they are getting close. So I'm excited about that. The apple tree that we put in, these two varieties flowered first, and look, you guys, those are apples. Now, I don't know if they got pollinated, so we'll find out. They may abort, and that means they didn't pollinate. You can't really be for sure yet. These two have just started to leaf out, and they should flower soon, and then hopefully pollinate each other. The roses, look at, if you looked back and saw when I pruned this thing, I mean, the green growth, it is so happy and healthy. I'm so happy about this. I think this is the healthiest, greenest I've ever seen it. So it's great. Pollinator patch bed, starting to come into its own. We've got this is the buddleia that I cut to the ground. A bee just bumped me on the head. Centranthus, lavender, lots of other fun stuff. This plum, it's a 5-in-1 plum, and there are baby plums on it. Again, not sure if they got pollinated. We'll find out. This is a pear that actually is flowering this year. It hasn't flowered for me ever, so maybe we'll get lucky and have some fruit. This apple is also flowering, which it never has done before either, so I'm very hopeful. These two haven't even started breaking bud yet, but that's okay. Okay, the potato bed. Potatoes are looking great. I'm very, very happy about this. The plants look lovely. I don't know that I'll need to hill them up again with more straw, but I do have it if I need to. And then this is just some burgundy lettuce that has kind of stayed this size the entire spring. So I don't know, maybe once it gets a little bit warmer, they'll be okay. This bed was a complete fail. It was carrots. Hardly any of them germinated, but that's okay. I'm not gonna bother resowing because I'm gonna put peppers in here. But you can see that the nasturtiums that I sowed all along the edges are coming up. And then we have a Santa Rosa plum, which also has baby plums on it, and 2 nectarines, which also have baby nectarines. So we'll see if we actually get fruit. I probably should disbud those fruits this year so that these are new trees, so that these trees can just develop a root system. This bed hardly has anything in it yet. This is all going to be tomatoes, and I'm going to do the Florida weave system here on this row. Over here, I might use cages or something else. And then we've got some greens that you can see have been being munched on, which is okay. These went in a long time ago. But we do have direct sown squashes coming up. I think some of these are pumpkins. I have them labeled on my crop plan, so that's why there's no label out here. The radishes are coming along, looking good. And then this is my new Birdie's bed that is all set to go. It's got a layer of compost and everything. I mean, cardboard and stuff on the bottom, and then it's compost on top. I have 4 varieties of cucumbers in here: China Jade, Market Moor, an English cucumber, and homemade pickles. And then I've direct sown some okra in here, spineless Clemson. I did have starts for these, but they failed. So we're just direct sowing. We're about to get a whole bunch of rain, so everything in here will be good. We've got collards here that are finally outgrowing the attack they were suffering, and some red acre cabbage, which I don't know will ever head up for me, but that's okay. And we've got more squashes. This is zucchini rampicante. These guys need some water. I don't think he's going to survive, but I will dump some water on him. Even though they got drip irrigated, they still crave it. The peas, doing better, but still kind of farther behind than I expect them at this time of year. My beans have started coming up. These were all direct sown beans. And then of course we've got more radish down this row. This is all going to be beans and tomatoes and peppers. This bed is beets. They never did anything. Look at that. They just never did. We do have dragon tongue beans sown in this front row here, and those are starting to come up. So, you know, these were the things that I planted, hoping that we could get a crop before it got warm, but they're not going to succeed, so that's fine. We're moving on. Moving on to the next variety. Blueberry bush here is starting to flower. Pretty soon we'll get blueberries. Now here's 3 peppers that I got at the nursery just because they were huge, and I planted them, and look what happened. Gone. It was one single rat. I caught it. But yeah, it's a bummer. Here's another peony that's been here for a couple years. It's also getting ready to bloom. And then over here we've got a few more potatoes. These were just potatoes that were starting to go bad in my pantry, so I planted them. And there's some tatsoi tatsoi here that's kind of not happy. I think it needs more water than what the Oyas are providing. But we've got squashes that were direct sown that are coming up. Some of the corn is coming up, even though it's a little ratty. I'm hoping for more of it to be popping up here soon because there's corn all through here. So our beans on the end here are coming up. And I don't remember this variety, but I can look it up on the crop plan. And then our squashes are in here. And I have 2 more large squash to place in here as well. So yeah, all the beans are coming up in the front. We've got sweet alyssum here for pest patrol. And what looks like barren space, there's actually corn through here. So hopefully we'll have germination and we'll get corn. These guys were under a cloche. These are all Seminole squash. And I uncovered them yesterday, but it's been really weird weather. Spring, April for us, usually our nights are still in the 40s and our daytime temperatures are in the 60s Fahrenheit. That's pretty normal April temperatures for us. Last weekend, we got a very, very cold storm that came in with a lot of rain, slushy hail, and our local peaks got snow, which is very weird for April. And then this week, it's been so hot. Today, it was almost 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And tomorrow, it's going to be a high of like 52 Fahrenheit. The rain comes in overnight. And again, we're going to get snow on our local peaks on Saturday. So weird. It's just so weird. It's been a very strange spring. So this red acre cabbage has bolted, and it's no problem. I planted this last fall, and it suffered a lot with slug attack, and now it's looking good, but it's just bolting. So what I've been doing is pulling it up and feeding them to the chickens because they absolutely love eating that. So I've got some random onions in here that were placed and are actually the only ones doing really well. These were back in last fall. And again, more squashes that were direct sown. These cabbages still actually looking really good. I mean, got a ways to go. I don't know if we'll get heads, fully formed heads before it's too hot for them, but we'll see. Artichokes also finally made it out of the attack of the slugs, and they're doing well. And then all of the daffodils on the fence line back here have just been so lovely. There are some peonies in here as well. I planted these all a couple years ago, and not all of the peonies took on this on this row. So, and then of course the giant mustards that just kind of hang out because they're beautiful. So I changed my mind. We're in the backyard for the cottage garden, and I'll show you. I haven't really done much cleanup, but it's starting to look really lush. So this is out my bedroom window here. You can see the really pretty osteospermum there. We've got some Dusty Miller and lots of lamb's ear. We got the helichrysum still, and then all of this daffodil foliage will die back. But the roses, this is the Joseph's Coat rose. The grass is very wet because I just watered back here. Isn't it lovely? This is the climbing rose. All of these pillars have this rose and they're already starting to bloom. I also have some limelight hydrangeas in here. They're very small. I don't know how big they'll get this year, but I'm hoping I'll be able to harvest off of them. And then back over here, we've got some big weeds that need to come out, like that guy right there. But I've been popping in plants here and there. We've got buddleia and lots of salvias and some new yarrow. We've got lupins coming up in here, sweet alyssum, calendula, rudbeckia, big bulbs that haven't completely come up yet. They're like emperor fritillaries. Those are really cool. We've got giant alliums in here. They haven't popped up yet either. And liatris. And I see a whole bunch of weeds I need to get rid of there. We've got some foxgloves starting, that tall spike there. And then look at, just look at this. So I cut these back really, really hard, and that was a great idea because look how gorgeous this Dusty Miller looks. All of these started from seed years ago, and they're great. I mean, look at the nice long stem on this. Ah, they're so pretty. So we've got catmint, more rudbeckia, California poppies, more different types of salvia back here. Artemisia that's coming back, which is amazing. Most all of these seedlings are foxglove seedlings because there's billions of seeds in one foxglove head and they just get spread around. So see what else we have. Irises. Lots of irises, and some of these are brand new varieties that I just planted last year. Haven't even seen them flower yet, so I'm excited about that. We've got more foxglove in the back, more salvias that are starting to branch out, and some California buckwheat, which is a new plant I just put in here. I think it's Aragonum is the species name. And again, more of iris. There's a tall verbena back there. We've got some decorative grasses, and I cannot remember what this one's called. I got a bunch of that in here. Let's see. More foxglove in the back. And this is, you know, these lower, germander. That's what this guy is. These are all, mostly all of these are perennials or they are biennials. And so we kind of constantly have a nice cycling in here of these flowers. This hysterical cosmos that lived from last summer all through the winter and kept flowering even though it was cold was crazy. And then we've got some feverfew. This bright chartreuse color is feverfew, a really interesting variety. We've got more lupins and one more osteospermum that I just put in today. Isn't this a cool flower? So awesome. And then these are the lupins. They would be bigger at this point, but we have a very adorable bunny who we see out here at night or at dusk, and he or she likes to do a lot of nibbling. In fact, they ate a verbena down to the ground. So it's give and take. I'm not going to try to hurt this rabbit, do anything to it. It lives here down the hill, probably in the creek area, and that's why I just plant a lot extra. We've got columbines in here as well. And then I just planted Rudbeckia triloba and more Rudbeckia cherry brandy and Sahara as well. Green stalk. All of the strawberries are all filling out. And then the herb tower is looking awesome. It's really starting to pick up, and I definitely need to start harvesting and drying and harvesting and using fresh so that we can continue to enjoy these throughout the season and they don't overgrow their pockets. Now I still have a lot to do with this area. First of all, these containers are going to get swapped out this coming week. This was all you know, spring bulbs, and the tulips got completely destroyed by the squirrels, but we did have a really nice show with the other smaller bulbs. So I'll pull all of those out. And in both of these containers, I'm going to do what I did last year, which is grow a big tomato in them. This time I'm going to grow a bush variety, determinate variety. I might do cream sausage, which is a white one from Botanical Interesting One, and Ace 55, which is a dark, or like a regular red determinate tomato in that one. And then I have lots of basil and marigolds to put around it as color, and of course they're edible as well. So I think those will be 2 fun containers. Got to get those set up after this next cold snap. This bed I need to go through again with getting the leaves out, but I did give it a fresh layer of compost. There's lavenders in here. There's yarrow, weigela, lantana, and creeping thyme. And I bought more to transfer, and of course it just died in the trays because I didn't have a chance to do it. So that's that. And then these containers continue to have strawberries and sweet alyssum in them. They did have, but they died, clematis in the middle. Now this is the second time I've tried to grow clematis and it just hasn't survive for me. So I'm not going to keep trying. I'm just going to grow something else that's a climber that enjoys these conditions. There's no point in spending a lot of money on a plant that I'm just going to keep struggling with. I'll just grow something else that flowers and climbs. So the other thing I need to do next week, when the weather is finally better, is bring all these guys out, set them all up on the patio. And I have a special project for all of the little guys that I haven't even had a chance to work with yet. I've got a really fun project planned for all of these, and a broken pot. Because we've had so much rain, you can see yellowing on the citrus, and even though they've been producing lots of fruit, that means the soil is getting leached again, and so I need to give them an iron treatment, and then they'll be okay. This is a mophead hydrangea. Comes back every year. Look at that beautiful growth. I can't wait till it flowers. It's really pretty. And then I have a few more containers that I need to pot up with stuff. I have no plans for them yet. This one is all violas, and that'll just stay like that until they all die off and I need to put something else in. These got turned into herb containers. So I've got 2 types of thyme and sage in that one, and we've got a mint here and some more thyme. We eat a lot of thyme, so I wanted to have those containers for that. And the ferns coming back full force from the winter. They're looking really good, covering up all the pool pump equipment so you don't have to look at it, which is nice. Now this guy is another hydrangea. This is a Fire Island hydrangea. I need to cut those old blooms off, but the leaves are looking great. And these are beautiful, bright red, fiery mop heads. So they're really awesome. And I usually put nasturtiums around the base just for fun. No plans for this pot yet, but I'll come up with something. This pot has this jasmine in it, which is about to bloom at the top. And it needs fertilization. It's yellow, so this guy definitely needs some help. I will give that some fertilizer. It's going to get compost as well, and then I'll put something around the base. Oh, and then look, this fern, those are all getting ready to unfurl into new fronds. So cool. And then I have this little euchera garden back here. Eucheras and that beautiful hellebore there. It's just a nice quiet little shady spot, and it's dry shade. So there is irrigation around this area, but they don't get really plastered with it, so I have to keep an eye on them. And then my flanking pots here, we've got albutilon in each of these side pots, and this one is going to bloom this year. I'm excited. They're really cool looking flowers. There was a heuchera in here, but it died over the winter, which is unusual for me. It looked like that one. So I'll just need to get another one to match. And then these big pots here are limelight hydrangeas. Okay, into the greenhouse. We've got our overwintered peppers that are looking really rough. Definitely need a lot of fertilization. This one died altogether, but it is what it is. What it is. Tomato seedlings. Most of these are sold at this point, which is great, but they're looking wonderful. Pepper seedlings looking really good too. Finally, well, they didn't grow until I bumped them up. They were just like, nope, I'm gonna just sit here. These are some Veggie Garden in a Box client kits here. So they get tomatoes and peppers and herbs and lettuce and zucchini. Here we've got the ginger that's planted in here. I keep watering it. Eventually it will send up sprouts and we'll plant that out. This is all peppers up here. Again, most of those are sold at this point. And then the rest in here is all stuff for the flower farm that just needs to go get transplanted, and we'll be doing that next week. And they're struggling. They're ready to go. You see how that basil is yellow? Because it needs to go out. Once I put them in the ground, they'll be much happier. And then we've got zinnias here, also ready to go out to the farm. I can't wait to transplant those. And even though this was very sparse, this is the first sowing of celosia and gomphrena. Very sparse germination from a long time ago. I put these in February, and they just have languished because it's been cold. But I am going to transplant some of these next week. And then we've got some millet and amaranth and stuff in here. This stuff isn't ready yet, but it's getting close. It just needs to be fertilized. And then down here, lots of herbs that need to get transplanted as well. And another Veggie Garden in a Box client kit here. And then we've got all of our dahlias that were pre-sprouting. So I'm not going to take cuttings this year. I'm just going to pop these in the ground. I really don't have time to do the cutting thing. But you can see if you were taking cuttings, you would cut the stem, this nice cutting here, and cut off a tiny, tiny bit of the wood, and then plant that, just stick it in a pot with soil, and it would root and become its own plant. Because it's a cutting from the tuber, it'll be identical to whatever else comes out of the tuber. Unlike when you plant seed, dahlias from seed, you don't really know what you're going to get unless you've grown them in isolation. Dahlias do love to cross-pollinate. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope that you've enjoyed that little impromptu garden tour. I wanted to be able to pop something up because it's been a rough week. And so hopefully you enjoyed this. Tomorrow, back out at the farm. It's going to be very cold and very gray, but perfect weather for massive string trimming, which I'm going to need to do because the bees will probably stay in their hive the entire day because it'll be too cold for them to fly. So it'll be a little bit easier getting that work done. And then I'm going to start breaking ground on the dahlia bed, the big one that I'm going to have to dig. So yeah, we'll just see how far I get with the energy that I have. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.